Hi, Natasha. This is Paul
Oh,
and
Natasha Todorovic Cowan, happy to be with you today.
and we're back again today having a little chat. And we decided to talk about a topical subject today about why people break the rules. Now, from my perspective, I know in the pharmaceutical industry, if you don't set the right rules, people break them. So, for example, if your SOP that you've written 3 years ago is ready for an update, you see that as the rules. They're the rules you should be following. That's what's written down. But circumstances have changed. And the way that the business is operating has moved forward. And although the rules haven't changed, people break the rules because they know it should be done a different way. So for me, that one makes sense. But what I've seen more recently is people know the rules, but they just ignore them, even though they put their own safety at risk. A good example at New Year's Eve. I think it was New Year's Eve, not Christmas. They announced that they were going to do a massive lockdown in London. It was somewhere around Christmas time, over the Christmas break. And everybody tried to leave London. Well, maybe not everybody, but thousands literally of people got in the cars, got in the trains, and tried to leave. The police stopped them because they were going on lockdown for a reason. Because the level of infection, the level of deaths has gone up so much, it had skyrocketed so fast. They wanted people to isolate and not spread it around the country. But I guess they weren't listening. It's like
Yep.
it's like in Switzerland. Did you hear about um, the COVID outbreak in Switzerland?
I
No,
did.
no, they changed the rules. The Switzerland in the ski resort, they retrospectively changed the rules and said that everybody that had arrived in the last 10 days had to go on to a lockdown for 10 days. They had to self-isolate for 10 days. They'd gone skiing for 7 days and they had to isolate for 10. Well, they couldn't do anything. Over 200 people, over 200 families left the resort in the pitch black, middle of the night to avoid the lockdown. They drove over to France from Switzerland.
Wow. Yeah, so I think, there are a lot of reasons why people don't follow the rules. And I think some of it is just conflicting priorities.
Mm.
And I think one of the things that we're seeing, particularly around COVID, or at least that's really highlighted, is the, don't tell me what to do culture. The
Yeah.
culture of I know best, I'm going to choose for myself, I'm an adult, and I get to choose, and I'm going to bear the brunt of whatever impacts are on my decisions.
Yeah.
And that's an awareness of the rules, but it's kind of that idea of, well, the rules don't apply to me because
Yeah.
I get to choose.
Yeah, and I know that one. There's a lot of managers, senior managers, execs that really feel that the rules don't apply to them, but then they still do. And you have to say, well, this is required. Either you do this or you can't come in.
Yeah, and I think that there's it's sort of a pushback about the rigidity that some people hold rules,
Mm,
right? And there's a mix of this is the rule, but we don't enforce it.
yeah.
And people know it's not going to be enforced, so they get to choose. And then there's the really the selfishness in people's own rigid thinking that says, I'm exempt. I don't have to follow this. Just give me credit for being smart enough to know what I need to do. And, sometimes I wonder, what is it going to take for people to learn their lesson?
I don't know, but I've got an example. I suppose that's quite common for me having examples. So I, I was, I was in I just taken over responsibility for a quality department.
Uh-huh.
We were in the manufacture of sterile injectables, and we were having a recurring problem. So I said, right, I want to go in. I said, but you haven't had training, you can't go in. I said, work it out, I'm going in, find a way. So we went in when it was an in-between batch, when they were about to do a shutdown so that they would do a full clean afterwards anyway. I went in fully supervised. I think it was just me that went in with the head of the department and maybe one or two operators in there to go through the details. I went in and I said, look, when I stand on there, it moves. I said, yeah, so what? Well, it's supposed to be sealed. Okay, we'll fix it. I said, but look what's happening. Underneath, the water was going in and out every time you stood on it. And it was a threshold from the door for the entrance to the sterile area. And they just had water there. So I said, well, if you've got one problem, let's have a closer look around the area. And I brought some more of the team with me. We found about 10 things that they needed to fix. And the problem was the previous incumbent in the role that I was doing wouldn't enter the sterile environment. Wouldn't go and look. The rest of the team got fobbed off. Oh, the rule is you're not allowed in because you've not gone through the training. So then I insisted some of the team got the training as well. So people were following the rules to the detriment of the process.
It was, in a sense, it's a way of excluding people. Rules are often used to manipulate.
Yeah.
And, also, I think with some of what we're talking about, there's been an ethos, particularly in management literature, which says if it isn't broken, break it. So the idea is, well, they're rules, they're outdated, they don't apply to me. Let's break everything. And there's really been this dissatisfaction with having to work like a machine. And I think some of the rule breaking is just a outcry for those who just want to be seen as more human, to be seen as intelligent, to be seen for their contributions. And the rules are saying you're not contributing, you're being treated like a machine.
It's an interesting one because we need rules, but if the rules are not maintained, like a system's not maintained, a process is not maintained. If it's not maintained, things are going to break down. If it breaks down, you're going to get failure. If you've got failure, people are going to want to break the rules to get through the failure. So they go back and they do something different, but then they don't fix the rules.
Yep.
Interesting dilemma. Shall we leave it now?
Yes, and the changing of language and what language means, but I guess our conversation has to come to an end yet again.
I know. Talk to you again soon, Natasha. That's Paul Palmer and
Natasha Todorovic Cowan.
Talk to you again soon, Natasha.